Welcome to Envisioned Broadcasting, the station designed to encourage, equip, and empower you for growth and success. Presents Women Emerge with Melissa Lambert, a show that shines a light on spiritual growth, health, purpose, and financial education. It's time to emerge and begin to live out your dreams, walk into your destiny, while making a difference in the lives of many.
Welcome to Women Emerge with Melissa Lambert. I am your host, and it's always an honor and a privilege to come before you another Thursday. Happy Thursday, y'all. I am so thankful for this opportunity to come back again. Yesterday was an amazing show. I hope that you were able to tune in. If you did not hear, this is a part 2 of yesterday. Yesterday's show was, we had 2 amazing guests. And we talked about anti-trafficking awareness. That was part 1 with Juanika Ballard, which is the CEO and founder of INTERGRITY. And we also had an amazing woman, Cassie Smith. Candace is here, right? So Cassie Smith, and Cassie is truly an amazing, did I say amazing? An amazing woman who really brought forth some great information for us as well. And today we are going deeper into this conversation and diving into more information on this topic. Again, our topic for today is anti-trafficking awareness. This is part 2 with our special guest, Candace Parrott, who is the executive director of Freshwaters, and Juanika Ballard. Again, we have Juanika Ballard, who is the CEO and founder of INTERGRITY. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Oh, pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
You are truly welcome. I mean, y'all heard Juanika so many times on this air, and, you know, I'm so thankful that she is here again representing INTERGRITY. But you've never heard who Candace is. And Candace, just with her accent alone, she reminds me of my auntie and my family from London. I love her accent. So for all my London people, we have Candace Parrott here today. So Candace, can you just share with us, who is Candace, and tell us a little bit about Freshwaters?
Sure. I always say it depends what day it is because I do so many different things. But Freshwaters is an organization I formed about 12 years ago. I've always worked in victim services. And with Freshwaters, it's clearly seeing the vision. So as the executive director and founder of Freshwaters, it was more in mind of how we're working with survivors or at-risk youth, and just those that need to have that direction. So I life coach the actual trafficking victims from the life into real life. That's who I am.
Wow.
Least.
From the life to the real life. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because, again, people like you are necessary and needed, especially for these victims. So thank you for sharing. I know we're going to go deeper in the conversation, but before we go deeper, I wanted to kind of bring back Juanika. Well, Juanika, tell us a little bit about who is Juanika Ballard, and tell us a little bit about INTERGRITY.
Well, Juanika Ballard, I'm the CEO and visionary for INTERGRITY. I am also a youth basketball coach and a veteran law enforcement officer. INTERGRITY is a nonprofit organization that's dedicated to teaching youth about the power and the importance of integrity and accountability, positive self-esteem, as also consequences. No matter what decision they make, a consequence is going to follow. So we want to make a good one. We want to make sure that young people know that integrity is important and it matters. So we meet as an after-school program, meeting young people, but we also do it in the sports arena as well.
Wow. I'm just excited again to have these two amazing humanitarians. They do so much for their community at large, and they continue to do what they do. As we spoke about yesterday, we had Cassie Smith, and she is the founder also of a great, amazing company called Brave the Darkness LLC. And we talked about yesterday with Juanika Ballard about anti-trafficking awareness, and this is part 2. So we're going to dive in. We have two amazing ladies, Candace and Juanika, here, who do have their own experience in this field, and we want to really have a wider conversation about this. So, Candace, let me just ask you a quick question, because I love what you stand for with Freshwaters. Been doing this for so long. You kind of understand the victims in so many ways, and your goal is to help them through this journey. So is human trafficking more of a foreign issue, and does it affect only females? Because that's the myth that I feel like many people think it's only something that's outside of the United States, or it only affects females only. Tell us more about that kind of concept. Is it a foreign issue, and does it only affect only females?
Sure. And Melissa, I have to piggyback off of what Juanika said. A huge thank you to you, because as long as these myths exist and people believe it, it's going to exist there. But when we do things like this, and it's huge that you're doing this, this is how we change the minds of what people believe it is and what it actually is. So absolutely not. It is not only a foreign issue. And as much as people would like us to believe that, it's about 7% in the U.S. of the trafficking cases that we see and deal with. So you think about that, 7%. So whereas people would like to tell you that it's the border and it's the issues and it's the smuggling. Smuggling is not trafficking, and people really have to educate themselves on what it really is. These are our local kids. This is what's happening in our backyards, and this is how the traffickers are getting to our kids. And as far as only girls, no. What I say is, I don't care if you're talking about the trafficker, the buyer, or the victim/survivor. Every one of those can be male and or female. So that myth about thinking that it's a male trafficker and a female victim, absolutely not true. The victims, the males and the females, regardless, people buy what they want. If they want a male, 12-year-old, 14-year-old, that's what they're ordering. Just like you order your groceries. You know what you want, and that's what they're doing.
Wow. And even just hearing you say that, that's what they're ordering. And that's how this, it's like I think Juanika or Cassie said it yesterday. It's like a business. And it's sad to say that, but it's what society has to understand. If we don't keep, like you said, this information in the eyes and the ears of people, we won't be able to stop this. And I like how you bring forth the information so we can be alarmed by how things are happening. So, Juanika, you have been a law enforcement, like a police officer for the last 2 decades, 2.5 decades, to be honest, and you've seen so much. Why is human trafficking awareness so important to you?
Well, as I said yesterday, this is why I became a police officer, to help kids, to help people who did not have a voice, to help them find a way out. Human trafficking is hidden in plain sight. It happens every day under our nose, and we don't realize what's going on. As Cassie spoke of yesterday, she talked about familial trafficking, which is another form of trafficking, but it is absolutely that. It's trafficking. So when we are able to bring voice to the voiceless and bring sight to people so they understand that our young people are dealing with things that we could not even imagine. And again, like Candace was saying, this is a business. This is a very profitable business. We got to interrupt this. We have to stop it. And the only way to do that is to bring awareness to it. It is very important to me because this is why I became a police officer. And I'm going to continue to do this work to help save all the kids that I can. We have to make sure that people understand what this is and how it is affecting our community and our way of life.
I love how you share that. We have to understand how it's affecting people and our way of life. So thank you. Just, you both and, also Cassie, for just being able to be a voice for this issue. I truly, truly appreciate you guys. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit deeper, Candace, because I really want you to make something very clear to us. Juanika has seen it in so many ways, on the force, off the force, being around collaborative partners like yourself. And we've heard this information, but we want to kind of get some more clarity. Why do you think trafficking is so large? Because when I did the statistics, I put it out. I saw even in 2025 right now, it says over 28 million people are currently trapped in human trafficking worldwide. That is huge.
Yeah.
So why do you think trafficking is so large?
So great question. And the way I sum it up is it's $150 billion, not million, billion dollar industry. So when you say, why do I think it's so huge, right? If you know that you can go somewhere and work and make your six figures and do what you need to do on your everyday job, you imagine what the traffickers think of, right? It doesn't inconvenience them. So when we talk about how they're recruiting our kids and how they're getting our kids, you have to keep that figure in your head. $150 billion. That is the second largest criminal industry, first being drugs. But what I tell the kids as well as the parents, drugs are one and done. So if you've got a kid that's running drugs for you, those drugs are done, they go back and they replenish the stock. With a child, that's repeat business. That's 6 to 8 to 10 men a night, 6 to 8 to 10 women a night, rotating 7 nights a week. Big business. So why do we say it's such a big business? That's why. The money is there. And as much as people would like you to think it's poverty and it's happening in low income, it's happening in some of the richest areas in the world, not just the country. You're international radio celebrity. And so when I say it's happening across the world, I don't care who's tuning in from where. I guarantee I can pull statistics for wherever they are.
Fact. Wow. And even this, in that same question, I want to ask you, what is the truth about trafficking? Because you just said, not $1 million, $1 billion industry. And that's big. Yeah. So what is the truth about trafficking? I want you to kind of just elaborate a little bit more for us, please.
Absolutely. So again, the truth is it's not that white van snatching our kids off the street. It's not the boogeyman that everybody looks for and they're waiting for the big bad wolf. And I think when we talk about the process of recruiting and the trafficking, when they're recruiting, they are recruiting our kids over a period of time. And so when I tell people, okay, this trafficker groomed your child for 6 months, they don't believe it. So again, what is the truth about it? It's not that white van. So while you're looking for that white van, that trafficker is befriending your child, befriending your youth, working on them, getting them where they need to be, buying them everything they need, if they need a new phone, if they want their hair done. And what shocks people is when I talk about how they recruit the boys. So with the boys, it's the shoes, right? So when those boys want those $500 pairs of shoes, guess who's going to buy those $500 pair of shoes? The trafficker. So the truth is, why they think they're hanging out with that older adult is very often the trafficker in those chat rooms, hanging out with some of their other friends, getting their friends to recruit them and not even realize they're part of a trafficking ring. And that really is the truth of it. People think it doesn't happen to them until it does, and that's the truth.
Wow. Again, you are tuned into Women Emerge with Melissa Lambert. It's always an honor and a pleasure to come before you another Thursday. We are still on the topic, and the topic we're talking about is an anti-trafficking awareness. This is part 2. We have 2 special guests, Candace Parrott, and she is the executive director and the founder of Freshwaters, and Juanika Ballard, who is the CEO and the founder of INTERGRITY. And this information, I truly believe, is necessary. We have to speak about this. We must, sound the alarm and make this information available to everyone. And I'm so glad this radio show is featured in 172 countries and on all 13 top podcasts, so we can get this message out. So, Juanika, as we continue this conversation, why is human trafficking awareness so important to you? I know that you guys are hosting a big event locally there in the Pennsylvania area in June to bring forth the awareness locally. But for you as a police officer, why is human trafficking awareness so important to you?
Well, it's important to me because previously I worked in the schools. I worked in middle schools. And oftentimes you have where children are coming of age and don't necessarily want to follow all the rules at the house. There's some boundaries maybe that parents have put in place, and they just don't really want to adhere to those things. They want to be like the cool kids that can, have a little bit more free reign. But in essence, we end up having a lot of young people who run away from home, not really realizing what they're running away to. And that's the big concern, is that you have young people who are running away from home because they just don't want to follow the rules right now. They want to do their own thing, and not realizing that they're walking right into situations that they're going to have a hard time getting out of, and we hope that we can get them out of it. Even down to, social media and certain chat rooms and apps and things of that nature where they're interacting with people who they don't have any idea who they are. They think that it's another teenager, but really it's a grown adult that is trying to groom them in order to create a relationship. And so if we can make sure that young people understand what human trafficking is, what it looks like, they can recognize those signs of, okay, maybe it's not them, maybe it's a friend, and all of a sudden, she has, her hair done, and she wasn't really getting that before. The parents don't really do that, or they're away from home a lot, and things are showing up. They're able to recognize when their friends may be in trouble, and then give them the resources to help them get out. So that's the most important thing, and that's why it's important to me, is just to make sure that we're bringing that awareness to our young people so that they can be advocates for themselves and they can recognize what's going on and kind of plan for it and be prepared for certain situations that just don't feel right, and not be falling into the gifts and the fun and the entertainment of what's going on, recognizing that their safety is what's most paramount, what's important. And also having them understand that there are people like myself and Candace that wake up every single day to help them. That's our life work. We go out every single day to try to help them be safe. So that's really what the most important thing is when it comes down to this awareness. You're seeing it a lot more on television, their ads and things like that, because it's working. It's working. Yeah. We're not going to be quiet about it. We're going to continue to talk about it. We're going to continue to bring awareness about it, because we're not going to allow these traffickers to get away with it.
Yeah. This right here, I love how you said it. We're not going to allow it. And people like yourself, Candace and Juanika and, Jennifer and Cassie and all the wonderful people who are leading the charge of sharing this information and speaking on this. I truly believe you all are humanitarians who are living, breathing, lifesavers for this cause. So, Candace, when it comes to our children, our young people, what should we be telling our kids? How can we share this information for them to understand and to know to know that something is wrong here? Yes, it may seem like it's good for now, but it leads to something else. What can we tell our kids when it comes to being alerted about sex trafficking?
Sure. I've been the public awareness co-chair for the Maryland Human Trafficking Task Force for probably about 17 years, and going into the high schools and the middle schools. And the kids always think they know it all. If you're 20 to a teenager, you're old, right? So trying to get through to them, sometimes I get it. The parents are like, they're not listening to me, they're not hearing me. But what I say is we've got to get these kids to understand that these traffickers are master manipulators. By the time they go from the recruiting to the grooming, and that's where the isolation starts, they will isolate our kids from their own families. And so by the time they're caught up, it's too late. And so it can be something as simple as, and it's not simple, but it's as simple as sextortion, where they're getting them to take those risque pictures. You show me yours, I show you mine, we take a little picture, we're having a little fun, and then it's turned on them where now they're taking that child's face and putting it on a nude body and threatening that if they don't do this, then they will expose them. Well, the kids think it's all fun until it's not. So with the kids, what I want them to know is know who you're talking to. When you think you're in that chat room talking to that 14-year-old, and then you find out it's a 40-year-old, too late. And when you've been asked to come and meet up with that 14-year-old who's a 40-year-old, too late. So the one thing I say to parents, be their worst nightmare. I don't care that they don't like that you're in their phones and in those chat rooms and finding out who they're talking to. I don't care if you have to secretly do it. If it's for the protection of your child, then by all means you do what is necessary. And so, I had a grandmother ask me one time, she said, what do I do when my grandchild won't give me the code to her phone? And I said, you disconnect that phone, and the next day when her phone's not working, you let her know that neither one of us needs a code now. So we have to take back that discipline, because the kids don't know. They don't realize that before you know it, you're lured into something that not even sometimes your guardians and your parents can get you out of. 100%. They need to know who they're talking to. And just again, Juanika and I work closely together on some of these things. And the one thing I say is when the kids are runaways, we cannot always force the kids to go back. So what I tell the kids is, if you are running, usually you're running from something or to something. I can't tell you not to run, because I don't know what your abuse is at home. I don't know your situation at home. But when you said Cassie touched on familial trafficking, that's something that's dear to my heart. When I see these kids, and familial trafficking, for those people that didn't tune in yesterday, is where a child is being trafficked by a family member. So you say, well, why is that so serious? If they don't know to tell somebody, they're not going to. And so therefore, if the child is running from trafficking and don't know who they're running to, and they don't have that safe space, then that's another issue. So what I tell the kids is, please create a safe space. I don't care if it's a teacher, if it's somebody in your church, if it's your best friend's parents. Create a safe space so that you know who you're running to and who you can confide in.
I like that. And I know that Cassie did touch on familial sex trafficking. If you want to elaborate a little bit on that, because I know that you said that's dear to your heart, you can go ahead and share whatever that comes to mind. Because again, we truly want people to hear as much as they can so they can be alerted when it's happening in home, when it's happening with a stranger or a family. They need to know. So you can go ahead and elaborate a little bit more.
Sure. So when I say familial trafficking, it's basically 4 types, right? So you've got gang controlled, which is what it is, right? One way in, no way out. And then you've got the basic trafficker controlled, where they normally have a bottom girl who handles everybody, does what they do. And then one of the major things, and it's very concerning to me in today's climate, because as people's benefits are getting cut and as people are struggling, they are going to see an increase in familial trafficking. So we had a case last year where the 14-year-old was being trafficked at the casino by her mother. And I tell this story because she didn't think that what her mother was doing was wrong, could not convince her. So when I say that the traffickers are master manipulators, you don't think about a parent being that master manipulator. But when they tell this child, if you don't do this, we don't eat, we don't have a roof over our head, the family can't survive, that child is going to do it because that's a guardian that's guiding them to do it. And familial trafficking is much larger than people can imagine. I had a grown adult come to me in one of my presentations about 14 years ago, and she said that until she heard my presentation that night, she didn't realize what happened to her as a 16-year-old was trafficking. She thought she was a child prostitute. And her mother made her sleep with the landlord on the first of every month to either get reduced rent or no rent. And you imagine unpacking that as a 58-year-old, right? They just didn't call it child trafficking back then. And so it's very real. And like I said, and I've said it over and over in my, these hundreds of presentations that we do, look out for it to get larger, because when these parents, guardians, family members, foster parents even, are trafficking our kids. So what does it say? That $150 billion industry. Remember that number? Part of that $150 billion industry is that familial trafficking. That's how they pay the bills. Very real.
Wow. Again, you are tuned into Woman Emerge with Melissa Lambert. We're again talking about the same thing we talked about yesterday. This is part 2, an anti-trafficking awareness part 2. We have 2 special guests, Candace Parrott and Juanika Ballard, that's here, and we're having this conversation. Juanika, you have a passion for young people. You have an organization around young people. As Candace talked to us and told us about what our children should look out for and to what we should tell our kids, what is your advice when it comes to giving our young people some advice to prevent human trafficking from happening to themselves or even a friend?
Well, my advice would be, as Candace was speaking about, having a safe place, a safe person, that new person that you met and on the apps, that new friend, your parents or that trusted person, they should know about it. You should not be communicating or meeting anyone that you don't know. I would question whether or not you should even add them. We have a lot of times where young people are just, being a little secretive because they're just trying to become young adults, but understanding that there's such a danger of having interactions with people that you don't know. So my advice for young people is to be mindful of that. And for the friends of ones who you may think that they're being trafficked, if you see something, say something. You're not hurting your friend by telling an adult who you guys can trust that you think something is wrong, and you're trying to get help for your friend. Like, they may be disappointed or upset at the moment, but at the end of the day, you can be saving their life. So don't sit by and try to hold on to the loyalty of, she didn't want me to tell anybody she's got this 36-year-old boyfriend. Somebody needs to know. It's not okay. Mm-hmm. It's not okay for grown adults to engage in relationships with young people, with people that are juveniles. It's not okay. And so we want our young people to become more aware of what this looks like so that they can help each other. That's the part of just all the awareness there.
Wow. I mean, that is, again, what we need to, like, so I think you said it best, Candace. We have to create a safe space, a safe group,
Mm-hmm.
someone you can talk to, someone you can share and confine in. Because sometimes you feel afraid. Will they
Mm-hmm.
judge me? Will they say something? And I mean, Candace, can you speak on that? Because I know you're around a lot of these young people. You're around these victims. Like, how do you really stress the fact of having some accountability or someone you trust to share this information? How do we help them feel comfortable in even sharing that something like
Sure.
this is happening?
Sure. So what I remind the kids of is, right, the brain is not fully developed until they're 25. So they are right where they're supposed to be. So we get that you go through the embarrassment and the peer pressure and that, need to be needed and that want to be loved, right? We get that. As adults, we're not telling you, that that's not right or embarrassing you or any of that. What we're saying is you are right where you're meant to be on your brain development. However, know that the trafficker also knows that, right? So when we say what's love got to do with it, you're looking for love in all the wrong places. So if you take an impressionable 14-year-old girl and you say, oh my goodness, your eyes are gorgeous, your hair is beautiful, right? Some of them are going to challenge you and, yeah, get away from here. I don't care. It's compliments, you're full of it. But then you've got that insecure one. So what do we say? They target the vulnerable. Absolutely target the vulnerable. And when we say that, it really is as simple as a compliment. And so knowing that those kids are vulnerable, like I say, if I ask you to think of the most vulnerable youth all of us can think of somebody, right? And what I say is start there. Go after that child and educate them on what trafficking is. Don't wait until they're in something and then you can't get them out. And then you go with a young male. The male's macho and thinking, okay, my brain's still developing, but I know they can't get to me. So what I tell the youth is, what happens is that young man, when you think you're the next best star, not on the radio to talk like we are, but making that next hit, and that person is paying for your recording studio time, that's expensive. So they know how to get to our kids. They are master manipulators. And so, another thing when you talk about what to look for, I tell the kids, it is easier for us to get you out of a situation where somebody has tried to sextort you or somebody has got you where they're trying to pull you into a trafficking ring, right? It can be as simple as you're playing, you're skipping school and you're hanging out with some friends and you know something's not right. You're embarrassed, but you come and you tell a Juanika or you tell a teacher or you tell a me. It's easier for us to get you out of that than you don't say something and then you're in so deep you don't know what to do. Even with the pictures, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, NCMEC, they have a Take It Down program. So I had a child who was sextorted last year, and before you knew it, he was threatened to commit suicide. This is real. Where our kids are and their fear of being embarrassed and shamed is very real. And so that's why I say to the parents, don't speak at your children, speak with your children. And when you're learning and you want to educate them on it, make sure that you're inviting them into the conversation. You're not going to get anything by punishing them or yelling at them or doing that. Sit down and educate yourself along with your child. Find out what some of these apps look like. We have a screen that we show where all the apps are up there. And what I tell the parents, you'll look at that calculator and you think you've got the smartest child in the block. That's just a calculator. Until you realize that that calculator app is a vault to hide those risque pictures that the trafficker is convincing the kids to hide, right? So know the apps your kids are in. Even the Roblox is for those little 4 or 5-year-olds. Absolutely monitor your kids' apps at all ages. Very important.
Wow. That is so important. And, I know that we did together under I Am Integrity, we did our the last two what is it? Anti trafficking awareness. We did it with Juanika, and we talked about that. Screen time. When we talked about not allowing your kids them to have a code to their phone, and you don't have access to it.
Absolutely.
Those are important to me. I'm speaking for me as a mom with a soon-to-be 13-year-old. Well, she's actually 13 now. She is. She understands my rules. One thing we don't do is put any code on anything. One thing we don't do is, not tell mommy what's going on. So I love that you made mention to all this as well. And I want to really dive into another conversation with you, Candace. Why is this work? I mean, I know you said you have been doing Freshwaters for a very long time. But why is this work? And I'm going to ask the same question to Juanika as well. I think Juanika actually answered it yesterday, but I'm going to ask you another question to Juanika. But why is this work so important to you specifically, Candace?
That's really a simple, hard question. Real simple, hard. And for me, you cannot unsee the scene. When we do these conversations, presentations, representations, I challenge people. If you can walk away from one of these and not feel compelled to get involved, something's wrong with you. And so for me, I have children, I have grandchildren, and I teach a youth ministry. The youth are dear to my heart. And so I would much rather get them on the prevention education side than the restoration side. So that's why it's important to me. Because when you see these kids and they come after the fact, it's like, where were you? Where was everybody when this child was going through this? And that's why, I don't care if it's the teachers, the Board of Education, the principals, the churches, the coaches, everybody and anybody should want to get involved in this, because it doesn't affect people until it hits home. And for me, no, I've seen the damage that it does, and I will not stop until we get this complete. Because if there is no demand, there's no supply.
If there's no demand, there is no supply. Drop the mic. That is so true. And I love how you mention, I like how you say this. Prevention, you like to get them on the prevention side rather than the restoration side. Elaborate a little bit more, because that's deep.
Correct. So if I am allowed to go into high schools, middle schools, I'm a Maryland licensed realtor, so I actually now just instituted something where I teach a 1.5 elective course to realtors. Now, if you talk to people about, how does that affect me? I don't care what your career is. Show us your career. Juanika and I are going to show you how it affects trafficking, or how it's affected by trafficking. So by that I mean, if we can bring the awareness, and the high school kids, they don't want to hear it. So what I say to them is, how many of you in here have siblings? Every little hand goes up there because they think they know it all. But when it comes that you're coming for their sibling, then they really get involved. So then they say, no, nobody's coming for my little sister or my little brother. And so that's how we get to the kids. So if we're educating them enough to pay attention and to help their siblings process this, that's what I consider the education, right? Which is right alongside the prevention. When we are out here and we have a Teens Against Trafficking, we work with the youth to youth in working with kids and educating them on what they need to do, because they'll hear it better from a teenager than they will for us. But that's the prevention side. But by the time I get that contact call from somebody on the task force, or I've got a mother who just found out her 16-year-old has been trafficked for 2 years and she had no clue, that's the restoration side. And that's entirely different, because now it's the repair and restore, right? And so what I say is, if your child was a runaway and has been gone for 2 years, you get that child back. They ran at 14. You're now getting them back as a 16-year-old and they've been trafficked for 2 years. You don't get to now tell your child, go to your room and give me your phone. That 16-year-old is no longer 16. So when we get into the restoration side, that's a whole another different level, and on just unbelievable the work now that has to be done to restore that child out of the trauma and the experience.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. And I know, Juanika, you have This is your third rodeo, and I'm so thankful for I Am Integrity because it's through I Am Integrity I met Candace, and this is our third time together at Candace.
Mhm.
We've done our online, we've done our Facebook and YouTube
Mhm.
video, and now
Mhm.
you and Candace, you, Juanika, Agnes, and so many great people, Cassie and Jennifer, they're going to be hosting something in June. So, Juanika, I'm Integrity has a heart for this. And I believe truly that this is something that I'm glad in a way that I'm Integrity is leading because your standing is on helping the young people. So, for I'm Integrity in itself, you're doing this on a third time or third go around, Juanika, this time in person. What does it mean to you to have something like this, not just online anymore, because you did twice online. Now this is your third time. You're bringing this to the front, but you're bringing this in person where you're collaborating with other organizations. Tell us what that means to I Am Integrity.
That's a really good question. It means so much to I'm Integrity, and this is why I say this. Last year, I'm Integrity was the year of inception for I'm Integrity. We were just really getting started, and we tackled something that is very much taboo. It's something that is people don't really want to talk about it, even though we should be talking about it all the time. And so to be in a place where one, I have people like Candace and Detective Watson who are willing to go from the online and come from different parts of the country to come to do in-person learning, in-person community awareness. This is just the beginning. I plan for us to be traveling across the country doing very similar presentations to bring awareness to communities and young people so that we can educate educators, so that we can educate police officers, so that we can educate the community about the importance of understanding what human trafficking is, not just the foreign side of it, but the domestic side of it. We're just getting started. We're just getting started, and I am so appreciative and grateful to them for rolling with me and rolling with I'm Integrity, believing in our mission, because we all on the same page of wanting to save our young people. We want to protect them at all costs, and if it means that we have to leave the comfort of our homes and the familiarity of our communities in order to do that, then that's what we're willing to do. This is a great opportunity, and I'm looking forward to collaborating with other organizations who are like-minded and want to fight the same fight with us.
Wow. I love it. I love it. I believe collaboration in this season of life is so important because I truly believe when we come together, one cause, one mission, one purpose, we can dominate and help tremendously globally. Thinking about the different organizations, these are all bosses, y'all. These is all of these ladies that came on. They are CEO and founders of their own brand, singing the same song, moving by the same beat, but with different names. We have I Am Integrity. We have Brave the Darkness. We have Freshwaters. We have Unstoppable You. These are organizations that are raising the bar of saying no more. We cannot suffer in silence no more, because it's time for us to rise up, and it's time for us to take our rightful place and speak about what is tabooed, what is not being talked about within our families, within our community, within our schools, within our churches. We need to talk about what's happening. So thank you, ladies, for standing up for what's right and being able to say, yes, I like this idea, Juanika. I see you guys definitely coming together, city to city, state to state, and country to country, talking about this. This radio station is featured in 172 countries. My prayer and my hope is somebody in one of these countries can say, a couple of these countries can say, I want these ladies on my platform. I want them to come and speak. Why? It is necessary. It is necessary for us to talk about what's happening in our world today. And if Candace said it, and I've been saying her name wrong, it's Candace, because like mine is Melissa, I heard Juanika said it. I said, hold up, wait a minute. I've been saying it wrong.
It's okay. I answered the worst.
But Candace, I just love the fact that you are doing, what you're doing right now with Juanika together, to bridge the gap of this information. So I'm going to ask you and Juanika this same question and, continue to elaborate on this. How can people help? And how can they get involved? We are having people around the world listening to this right now. We're going to have people on all 13 top podcasts being able to re-listen to this information. How can these people listening help, and how can they, too, get involved?
That was for me.
Yes, ma'am.
Well,
okay.
Oh,
go ahead, Juanika. No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, people can help and get involved by, one, if they are passionate about this mission as well, we'd love to collaborate with you in order to bring the awareness to the community. If you don't necessarily have the position or the platform to get involved, but you have the funds to do it, then make a donation to us so that we can continue to do this work, so that we can continue to bring awareness to the community about this issue, so we can reach young people wherever they are, as well as families wherever they are, to assist the survivors of trafficking, so we can help them get back on their feet so that they can be part of the sisterhood and the brotherhood of being able to help others who are trying to get out and who have come out of it. They can reach I'm Integrity at our website at imintegrity.org. You can reach out. You can reach out to us through email at info@imintegrity.org. And you can also follow us on social media with I'm Integrity NPO on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We'd love to be able to do some collaboration, but we have to get involved with understanding that our young people need us. They need us more than ever. Everybody's got a cell phone. Everybody might not have a lot of money, but they have cell phones, and so therefore there's access. There's access to our young people. We have to bring the awareness so we can stop this. We're willing to fight the good fight.
Yeah.
We're willing to stop. We're willing to what? Fight the good fight. So go ahead, Candace. Let us know what is your take on how people can get involved as well as help.
Sure. I don't think there is one person that could tell me they don't know how to get involved. It can be, if you're a praying soul, pray. Pray for those victims that haven't been recovered. Pray for the people that are doing the work. Pray for the support, financial, physical, however that we get it. If you say, well, we would love for you to come in and do a presentation. Juanika and I work very closely. And again, we will do a virtual if we have to. I don't care if you're in another country. We will work out how to do an individual virtual thing for you. Tell us where you are and we'll tell you how we can help you. And so if you look at what is going on in your neighborhood, right? We're here in Maryland, but next month we're in York, Pennsylvania. Another time we might be in Florida. So it doesn't matter. We have wheels. We will travel, and as Juanika will say, she'll carry bags for anyone that needs to go overseas. And I'm with her. But to be honest, if you are in another country, don't think that we can't help you. You may not know how to target what's going on in your area, but just the same way that we have resources and task force here, we have them in other countries. So again, get involved. Whether you say, can we host a presentation? I support Juanika. I am not a nonprofit, but I support her 100%. Nonprofits need money too. So if people say they can find a way to donate, I will support her 100%. She's very passionate about the work that she does, and I encourage people to donate to that. Yes, there are some nonprofits out there that aren't necessarily doing the work, Doesn't mean they're always the ones that are doing the work that get the funding. So anything, it doesn't have to be financial. It can be you volunteer your time. You may say, how can I get involved? But I'm in another country. I will find something for you to do. So we need all the help we can get, whether it's volunteerism, whether it's support, whether it's giving presentations. If you belong to any community, sorority, anything, we will come out and do a presentation to bring that awareness. Again, remember what I said, without the supply, without the demand, there is no supply, right? So we don't need it. Work with us to end this, please.
Work with us to end this. I love this. I mean, this was such an amazing part one and part two of this conversation. It's a need to talk about. This is a topic that's needed. Anti-trafficking awareness. This is part two with two of them. These amazing ladies, Candace Parrott as well as Juanika Ballard. We are going to share this information. This is going to be on all 13 top podcasts. I'm asking everyone, tell a friend, share this. This should go viral because this is necessary. So before we kind of shut it down and close it out, Candace, can you come back and just share with us how do we connect and keep in touch with you? How do we support Freshwaters as well? And how do we stay involved with what you are doing on your end? And I'm going to come back and ask the same question to Juanika.
Thank you. I can always be reached. My Instagram is at FreshwatersCSP, as Charlie Sam Paul. My website is fresh-waters.org, and that's waters with an S. My telephone number is 202-359-4100. Again, 202-359-4100. And you can text or call me. It's usually easier to reach me by text, and I will return the call. Thank you again for having us.
You're absolutely welcome. Thank you. And Juanika, the same question to you. How can we connect with you? How can we support I Am Integrity? And how can we really kind of follow and see what's going on with I Am Integrity?
Well, I Am Integrity, our email is info@IamIntegrity.org. Our website is IamIntegrity.org. Our socials, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok is I Am Integrity NPO, and our number is 717-356-0901.
Wonderful.
We're always willing to have that connection and do some collaborative work. So please reach out so we can work together.
Yes. Thank you so much, ladies. What a wonderful opportunity to be able to grace this platform with you, ladies. And I truly believe that there's more to come. My prayer and my hope is to see that you both will connect in so many ways where you can bring this into cities, states, and even countries. For those who are following me, please continue to follow me on social media at Women Emerge Network or Lambert Legacy Financial. I'm here on this radio every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can always get to our podcast via womenemergeradio.com. But also, you can also download and listen to us on all 13 top podcasts. If we come on Wednesday, it will go live on these podcasts on Thursday. When we come on Thursday, it goes live on the top podcasts on Friday. Please go ahead and connect back with us. We truly believe that these ladies are doing a great thing. We want to support the cause. We want to participate. If you can participate, donate, give. maybe not of your time, but give of your finances so they can continue the work that is being done. I know that greater is coming for them all, and we just want to really say thank you. Thank you so much, ladies, for all that you're doing, and I know that your labor will not be in vain. Just want to remind you all again that this show is being sponsored by Lambert Legacy Financial. You can connect with Lambert Legacy Financial at lambertlegacyfinancial.com. lambertlegacyfinancial.com. We are dedicated to bringing financial awareness to the community through infinite banking concept. We teach the truth about money, empowering individuals to think about and plan their legacy. Again, to learn more, go to lambertlegacyfinancial.com. Until next time, everyone, thank you again. I'm going to ask this one thing before we close this session out. Candace, can you just give us one power word for these ladies and these gentlemen and everyone that's listening regarding this matter that we're talking about? What is that one power word you want to leave with everyone today?
When you ask me that, what comes to mind is reach. I need everybody to reach. Stretch yourself beyond and reach.
Thank you. Reach. Ooh. Juanika, what is your one power word that you want to leave with everyone today?
Well, my power word is integrity. Do the right thing even when you don't think anybody's watching.
Oh, love it. Reach and integrity. And my power word for you all today is hope. Know that there is hope. There's hope for today, and there's hope for tomorrow. Until next time, everyone, thank you for tuning in. I know that this episode was helpful. Because it was helpful, please share this with a friend, someone you like, love, and trust. Even your worst enemy needs to know about this information because they need to share this with someone else because you never know what's going on behind closed door. Well, you can't even judge a book by its cover either. So please go ahead, tell a friend, share this with someone because this information is truly, truly helpful and can save someone's life. Until next time, everyone, take care, take charge, and continue to be great. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to Women Emerge with Melissa Lambert, where Melissa speaks with leaders, experts, and motivators who share their journeys and their stories through personal and professional growth, knowledgeable tips, and lessons learned that will empower you to grow. Follow Melissa and Women Emerge Network on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at MELLISASLAMBERT and at Women Emerge Network. And visit www.womenemergenetwork.com. Remember, when you know better, you can do better, especially when God is for you.